Witnessed one of the bloodiest internal conflicts threatening to destabilize parts of West and East Africa because of armed conflict currently ongoing in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, otherwise called Ambazonia. The conflict has been necessitated by the demand of Ambazonians for an independent republic they call home. The fighting between the Cameroonian army and the Amba boys have resulted in the destruction of lives and properties running into millions of dollars, with many internally displaced. Well, this evening we have with us in the studio the leader of the African People's Liberation Movement, Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga, to tell us more on the latest in Ambazonia. Good evening, sir, and thanks so much for your time on Newsnight.
Good evening.
Well, tell us about the latest in Southern Cameroon at the moment.
Well, the situation in Southern Cameroons, the last time I left here, has actually become extremely worse. It is actually as expected. More villages have been razed, more kids have been killed. The death toll actually has increased, and the injured, the maimed, and the detained has equally increased. The only thing that has happened between this particular period, the period I last came to Ghana and now for the people of Ambazonia and in that part of the land, of the continent, is that we have increased the number of IDPs and refugees. When I talk of we, I'm talking of the warring parties. Okay. The state of La République du Cameroon has equally increased its acts of hatred, its acts of imbecility, its acts of savagery on the territory. So it's a very disturbing situation. Hospitals continue to be razed down by the military in suspicion that they are treating some of the separatist fighters. And then we have also seen an increase in the number of proconsuls of the regime, people who've decided to turn their backs against their own kids and kins because they want to collect crumbs from the tables of Yaoundé. So the situation is not getting better any soon.
It looks like this conflict is not getting the needed attention from the UN and the AU and other international human rights organizations. Why is it so?
In reality, the United Nations have, of recent, when the United States took over the presidency of the Security Council, they spoke vehemently about this. They talked about the need for both sides to respect international humanitarian law and international laws of human rights that has to do with the issues of conflict, because so much atrocities have been committed, and we are expecting that impunity will not be permitted. Equally, the United States, as in the course of his presidency that is just assumed in the Security Council, has equally recognized that the national dialogue which Mr. Biya organized was just a farce, was just a method of creating normalcy rather than a solution to the problem, and is asking both sides to come to the table in support actually of the internationally mediated Swiss initiative.
What was the fallout from that national dialogue that was organized? What was the fallout from it?
Well, the national dialogue was just a farce. It was just a way of running down the table. It was a way of the Biya regime to deceive the international community that this is an internal issue, we are trying to solve it. But we keep telling the world that this is not an internal issue. If it was an internal issue, you will not find Southern Cameroonian refugees here in Ghana. Ghana does not share boundary with Southern Cameroons. It was an internal issue. You will not find all the refugees, the pregnant women, those who are dying in the forest, all the way in Nigeria. You will not find more than 1.3 million internally displaced persons. You will not find the United Nations Humanitarian Relief Organization send in a United Nations relief plane to come land at the Tico International Airport to start carrying both relief and humanitarian workers. So this is an international issue, and it must be recognized from that dimension, because if it is not recognized from that dimension, it is like having typhoid and then you are treating malaria. The consequences is going to be disastrous.
Okay, so how would you describe the posture of African leaders towards seeking to bring in resolution to this matter?
Africa has got a problem. Africa have lost the spirit of Kwame Nkrumah. Let me assure you that in February 1959, this is the leader of Ghana that just gained independence in 1957. Nkrumah came over here. Dr. Nkrumah came over, landed at the Tico International Airport. the first foreign leader to land at the Tico International Airport, where you find here the leader of the opposition, Dr. Emmanuel Mbelali Fafa Endeli, and the Prime Minister of the Southern Cameroons, Dr. Jongu Foncha, all of them of late. Why was Nkrumah in the Southern Cameroons in February 1959? The British were arguing that the Southern Cameroons was not economically viable for independence. Dr. Nkrumah came to the Southern Cameroons to emphasize, to insist that the economic viability of the Southern Cameroons was strong enough for the people to move into total independence. This is what Dr. Nkrumah did. What Africa has lost is the Nkrumah spirit. We no longer have that. I keep on coming back to Ghana to remind the people of Ghana, not just the government, every Ghanaian, especially Ghanaian politicians, that all of them are riding on the backs of the Big Six and Dr. Nkrumah. So it is important that Africans don't just say this is an African issue. They should act. They should prove that it's an African issue. We want to find African states do something. I've gone to the United Nations. I've been to the Security Council. I've talked to particular individual member states, trying to find out what they can do to get a lasting, positive solution to this issue. What we need is a just peace. We do not need normalcy. We want children to go back to school. But you can't expect children to go back to school in a war-like situation. That is why we are appealing for R2P, that is the responsibility to protect, to send peacekeepers from the United Nations to get into the Southern Cameroons so that they can place themselves between the separatists and the government of La République du Cameroun, so that children can go back to school.
To wrap it up, now, what would it take, Paul Biya, to stop the onslaught ongoing in the region at the moment?
What we take Paul Biya, I don't think even the death of Mr. Biya is going to resolve the issue. The only way of resolving this issue is for the international community to stop playing ping pong over the lives of Southern Cameroonians. Every available method has to be used to drag the state of Cameroon to the negotiating table. No side is going to win this war. This war of attrition, this particular existing war, is going to continuously lead to the death of thousands and thousands of people.
I believe the Ambazonians also have a role to play so far as bringing resolution to this.
That is exactly what we are asking the state to do.
Instances where recently some people from Ambazonia were reported to have, thrown some bullets at an airplane.
Well, we of Ambazonia do not think we did that. Why? Because that particular airport has already become a military garrison. The Cameroonian military is actually occupying that airport. That's the first thing. Secondly, what is the evidence that we Ambazonians have the capacity to shoot a flying object? What is happening is that the state of Cameroon opened fire to that plane because they want to make sure they declare a no-fly zone. The moment they discover that the United Nations has brought in a 12-seater plane, which will be able to help for the relief of the suffering Ambazonians. So how are they going to tell the United Nations that you can't fly in your plane from Tico to Manfre and the rest? They need to shoot a plane and say that the airspace is actually in danger.
Dr. Akwanga, we'll definitely have to bring you back to talk more about this matter. But then we're hoping we all do bring a lasting solution to this matter, because it's really getting out of hand at the moment. But then thanks so much for your time on Newsnight.
You're welcome.
So we have an engaging Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga on development in Southern